The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Well, guys, welcome back to another episode at the Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Introducing Anna Ghalumian, a former litigation attorney who has seamlessly transitioned into a distinguished real estate expert, now with over 12 years of experience in residential real estate and 6 years in commercial. Anna combines her legal acumen with exceptional negotiation skills to provide her clients with unparalleled representation. Now, she is the leader of the True North Group and is committed to integrity, innovation, and community service, contributing to initiatives like building water wells in impoverished communities worldwide. I love that. Now, put your hands together and help me introduce the one and only Anna. How are you doing today? You okay?
Hey, Ethan. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. Thank you so much for having me on. Doing fantastic. Just getting over a freeze we had here in Texas, so it's all great.
Sorry, I can't relate. I'm in like 30-degree weather. Well, what is that?
Uh,
80 degrees or something like that? I don't know.
oh,
I don't
sweet.
know. Easy to come down. Either to, well, Miami's frozen as well, isn't it? Or Florida.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But hey, let's dive into your real estate journey and spare no details. Before we get into
Absolutely.
the transition from a litigation attorney to real estate, what was the driving factor of you getting into real estate?
It was a little bit of a combination of forced will from the universe and personal choices and decisions that I made along the way. So before I got into real estate, I was a practicing litigation attorney, licensed in 2 states. So I'm licensed in California and Nevada. And at the time, I was living in Nevada while practicing full time. And let me just say, that it was literally like almost a 24-hour job, in that I was on call. There was literally no limits or bounds to the amount of time that I had to commit to work. So I was recently single at the time, and I thought this is perfect. I loved working. I was always the academically and career driven woman. I had no children, and so I just dedicated my life to just excelling as much as I could in academics and career. And one day, my paralegal walks in. She asks for a document, and I'm trying to hand it over. I believe we had a motion the following day, and I can't move my right hand. I couldn't move it. Turns out it was a medical incident. It was a pseudo stroke that I had suffered. I was 27 years old, and it completely changed my life.
Yeah.
Let's just say the prognosis was not very good. I was forced to be in this position of having to reconsider all my decisions in life. And mind you, at that point, I was, by everyone's books and expectations, I think I would have been considered to be very accomplished. I was always, top of my class and doing everything I could to excel in anything that I touched. So here I am at 27 years old. I haven't stopped working since I was 15. And now I'm in a hospital bed and I'm not sure if I'm going to live or die. And I also had no idea if I'm going to walk or anything else. Thankfully, no intellectual capacity portions of the brain were impacted. The emotional part was okay. It was just the physical aspect. I wasn't able to move my right side for a pretty extensive period of time. So that really forced me into a self-reflection type of phase. And at a time when I really lost everything financially that I accrued and accomplished, because you're inundated with medical bills, you're inundated with everything. The only thing that stayed intact was real estate decisions that I had made.
Mhm.
that point, I realized, okay, I've gone through law school, but I don't know why nobody talked to me about life insurance. So I
Mhm.
didn't have life insurance policy in place. And I thought I'm healthy, I'm very vibrant, and I was able to get through everything in life. And here I am, basically losing everything. And so it was like a hard reset for me.
Yeah.
And when I bounced back, I got into multiple businesses. I went into business consulting, and I realized more than anything else that time away from life taught me the value of time.
Mhm.
That was the pivotal moment for me in my life where I realized absolutely nothing comes close to being as valuable as time. So that's when I gleaned that moment. And that's when I realized instead of trading my time for money, I need to think of ways where I'm actually fulfilling my life purpose. First of all, I figured out what my life purpose was, and that took a long time. But after I did that, how could I fulfill the life purpose in the best way that I can without without having to trade my time for the money? So I started thinking in terms of what business establishments could I put in place, what what businesses, what entrepreneurial tasks and projects I could take on to actually build myself and my future generations an empire that I could pass on without literally selling my life for it. So that was the pivotal moment that got me to that point. And then when I reached the point of um, having been in multiple businesses, investing in multiple businesses, that's when I got into commercial investments as well. Um, when I reached that point, I realized, okay, I'm literally spending so much time in real estate. And that was one of the most lucrative aspects of my investment journey. Why don't I do this for everyone else? And so I kept getting calls from people. Hey, I have this deal. Do you think this is worthy? Do you think I should do this? Hey, I have this opportunity here. What do you think of this? And all these consulting things that were coming my way. I was like, you know what? As a new mom, and at that time I was blessed to have a little one. Um, I was like, as a new mom, I feel like the importance of time management is even more critical. Let me get into real estate to do this on a full-time basis. So that was my entry into the real estate market, not as an investor, but now as an active player, as an agent. So
No,
sorry, long story short,
no,
it
that's
was long.
spare no details. That is an inspiring story. You definitely have a voice to be heard. I think we can be on this podcast for like 10 hours, but we don't have that much time. But no, it's truly inspiring. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And initially, there's always a blessing in the redirection. I truly believe in that. Um,
Absolutely.
how did your background as a litigation attorney like shape your approach to real estate transactions?
I think it gave me an amazing foundation because I was able to understand the nuances of real estate. I can't say how much of that was due to my career as a litigation attorney versus my investment experience. I think my investment experience cumulative with the litigation experience um, brought me into a totally different level of playing field because you're now able to see things from different angles. The entrepreneurial experience brought me the viewpoint of analyzing deals from the perspective of an investor. The litigation experience gives me the nuances of, oh no, no, maybe this path might not be the best avenue because I could foresee, several years and steps forward and forecast what could possibly happen with the specific deal being structured in a certain way. And not to mention the negotiation skills that come in hand. So I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity of having accumulated this, $500,000 education experience, even though I wouldn't advise anyone to do the same today in today's economy. But I'm incredibly blessed to have had this well-rounded experience, even though it was a forced one to some extent.
You said you could see, like, basically, well, if we had our crystal ball and it would tell the future, we'd all be billionaires by now. But just in terms of like some, some factors that what we're going through at the moment in regards to the economy. We've just had Trump come in, had the base rates, we had COVID. What do you see that's going to happen in the future?
In my future or in real
In
estate?
the Texas.
In Texas. What's very interesting, it's hard to predict any black swan events that could possibly take place, without a doubt. I think anyone who puts themselves in a position of being able to predict what would happen with certainty is either lying to themselves or lying to the people. Because as we saw, COVID was what we consider a black swan event that couldn't have been anticipated. Now, with an organic growth in place, I think Texas's outlook outside of any black swan events, outside of exterior intervention, is very good in a sense that we're expected to have organic growth in the marketplace. We're one of the states where we're always waxing and waning between like second and third best position of people moving to Texas, like one way routes coming to Texas. So from that perspective, combined with the fact that we're undergoing massive developments here, our state is very friendly to businesses. The fact that we don't have state income taxes, the fact that the infrastructure is set up to be inviting to businesses, I think the forecast overall is a very promising one. And I find that a lot of my investors that I've worked with previously from other states are also finding the same thing. And they're bringing a lot of their money and a lot of their attention to the Texas market.
I love it. I know I'm not hearing a lot of people, especially like from California, going down to Texas because now California, it's like you're just working to live now, you know? And
It is.
like back
Absolutely. And it hurts me because I grew up there and I absolutely love California. Like I love it with my heart. It is a place that has unmatched, unparalleled natural beauty. And it has so much to offer in terms of the diversity. That I loved it. I went to law school there, went to undergrad, grew up there. Family is still all there, and it really hurts me to see how the economy and the politics there are driving people out in such massive numbers, so that California now has the name, California is associated with the California Exodus. And so that is really painful to see, but I could see exactly why. And I'm one of them. I consider myself a Texas refugee. So when I moved here, like literally, I'm a Texas refugee because unfortunately the politics make it really, really tight to live there.
I don't think it's just California as well. I think it's happening in lots of different parts of the world, especially London. There's like nearly 10,000 millionaires just gone up and left because it's just
Mm.
what when you can go set up a company in Dubai or somewhere else like Panama and not have 50% of your wealth taken away from a country that or government that is not really fixing things and not giving back. Why do I say? But yeah, I'm out. I flew to Miami now. I'm in Colombia. But I can certainly see why now. Back to you. Back to you. Back to you.
No worries, no worries. But to your point, I totally agree with you. I think the climate that a lot of these countries and states have adopted
Mm,
uh, is really making big waves. And places like Texas, and I'm not really too familiar with Colombia, but I would assume that it's their gain, and California's and London's loss. So
most definitely. Um, just going back to your transition from law to real estate, I know everything's not always like rainbows and roses, but could you share some challenges that turned into like biggest accomplishments when you were transforming from law into real estate? And then some that you overcame, maybe.
yeah, absolutely. I think from the perspective, taking my personal journey out of the equation, I'm happy to go into that if you'd like. Um, I think the biggest challenge for an attorney transitioning to the real estate space is one of two things. One is you're transitioning from being somebody's employee to being your own boss, so to speak. And the biggest challenge I see with that, and that's in law as well as anywhere else, is the concept of, okay, you're no longer told what to do. You need to generate your own one, you need to generate your own leads. On the attorney side, I had no problems at all having leads because we had people that were bringing in the leads, and I was just managing the transactions, and I was taking the cases through litigation. So from that perspective, there was no element of hustle that you needed to have, versus in real estate when you transfer, especially outside of commercial brokerages, because I feel like to some extent commercial brokerages still have that element where you're given clients. But in the traditional real estate space, you're hustling day and night. And so you're always on the go, you're always on a run, and tomorrow's never guaranteed until you establish that level of discipline and that level of consistency and being able to acquire leads and establish yourself in the space, through consistent actions. Then the second challenge on the law side, transitioning to real estate, is sort of acquiring that entrepreneurial sort of personality. So I feel like it's now on the real estate side, you're no longer just acting as a realtor. Like you literally have 100 and some roles that you need to play. You need to be a psychotherapist for your clients who are going through a divorce. You need to you need to act as an inspector to catch some stuff. And obviously you're not putting yourself in the position of other experts, but it's like you're walking in property. Oh no, guys, this is something that we need to watch out for. You need to be a negotiator. You need to be, I mean, there's so many hats that we wear on the real estate side that I feel like it makes you a very well-rounded person, but it could be challenging at first for someone coming over. And then for me on the personal side, the biggest challenge though, my blessing is that I dabbled with multiple businesses before transitioning to real estate. So that was not as much of a challenge for me. And of course, obviously time management would be another one that I would add into the mix, because now it's like I have 24 hours in the day. What do I do with it? Versus, you're clocking in, you're billing hours, you're given every single task that you have to do, and now you're like, okay, what do I do? But going into the biggest challenge for me personally was in my personal life. My biggest personal challenge was the marriage that I was in. It was an extremely controlling one. And it was one where I felt posed the biggest limitation on who I was as a person. So for me personally, the biggest challenge was a personal one in overcoming the restrictions that were placed on me as a human being, and transitioning to motherhood, along with a very controlling husband, now ex.
Amen. Freedom is a must.
Yeah,
Salida la mujer. Gracias.
I know, freedom.
I love it. I love
Yeah,
it. No,
absolutely.
it's an amazing story. Like, hopefully, like attorneys that are aspiring into real estate can listen to this and take something from that. I was looking at the True North group. Now, you guys are involved in a lot of community initiatives, I would say. Could you discuss some of these community initiatives that you guys are involved in, and why are they important to you?
Yeah, absolutely. To answer your second question first, why they're important to me, is again going back to the near-death experience that I had. I was in a hospital bed, and I realized that a lot of the things that I put an emphasis on and prioritized in life were actually not that important to begin with. But the things that do make the lasting impact, um, are the experiences that you provide to others that you meet. And so for me, I took that on as a blessing and an opportunity. I thought that the universe, God, was giving me a second chance, and that this second chance I can't waste. I don't ever want to end up in the position that I was in and put myself, in a position of being regretful towards anything. So I said, all right, God, thank you so much for giving me this blessing. As hard as it is to get to the point where I need to be, my promise to him was to be a light in the life of everyone that I touch, and to make as much of an impact that I can in the lives of everyone that I meet. So one of the ways that I can accomplish that, and as a team lead at the True North Group, is to initiate those community outreach programs. Like, for example, this past weekend, we participated in a adoption event for rescue dogs with the Humane Society. And then my goal is with this one is a little bit challenging for a lot of people to understand, but when I set up my LLC for the team, I actually made God as a partner in my real estate business, so he is entitled to
Yes, that's good.
yes,
That's
he's a
good.
shareholder. And this is,
That's good.
oh, that's so cool. Okay.
I love it. Now, you guys are proud of me. It doesn't matter. It doesn't sound weird. It doesn't sound anything. I love
I'm
it. I
glad
love
to hear that. I'm very happy to hear that. But basically for me, the way I see him as being a shareholder is any charitable contribution that I can make on his behalf, so to speak, is something that's been happening. So with every transaction that we close, on the back end, I always had donated funds to charities. I don't publicize it. I don't announce it, because I feel like to some extent the blessing of having done it goes away when you make that announcement.
it.
To some extent, it minimizes it. Although I understand it
A lot
also.
of evil lie. There's a lot of evil lie, and then sometimes you need to just like spiritually protect yourself, because sometimes if you share people like, oh look, 2 3 2, oh no, there we go. Your blessings will get cancelled, you know?
That's what I feel. That's what I feel. I had a hard time basically putting that out there. But I also want people to know that any income that we generate from having done business with them is not done in vain, and that there is a contribution element to um, them working with us that goes to a greater good. So that's why I hesitantly, reluctantly sort of put that out there. I was like, okay, I'm not going to publicize everything, but I do want to let people know that it's not done in vain.
Most definitely. Amen. Wow, inspiring. I'm just strict as time. 10 episodes, you should have your own podcast. Well,
Oh,
um,
thank
where'd you
appreciate it.
go from here? What are your plans in the near future?
I want to build a real estate conglomerate of people that lead with integrity and people that lead with a heart, but are also absolutely, you know, killers in the industry. I want to be able to be put in a position of training and mentoring agents to be the best versions of themselves. And the way that I do that with my specific team is I need to help them be the best people they can be in all aspects of their lives.
Mhm.
Uh, so we focus on the whole person.
Yes.
Um, and I think, until you have that whole in a fully aligned way, you're not able to be the best version of yourself in one sector of your life. And so
Not
what
eating
I'm
right in one place, or that will affect something else. You got to eat right, gym right, all aspects, to target. I love that. I'm still working on it as well, so I need to give you.
Yeah, no worries. And I have a couple of tools and resources to share with you if you want to. I'm more than happy to do that. Basically, just tools that make you think of what it is that you actually want. Because I believe that, I believe that God talks to us throughout our lives and he tries to guide us in certain ways, but we just have to be willing to listen. And if we're not listening, that's when, disasters like the one that I went through happen to us, because it's like, okay, I've been telling you, Anna, you're not listening. So here it is. Now you have no choice. I don't want that to be the case with everybody else, and so I want to be able to help them listen to the guidance they're getting along the way and be able to be the best versions of themselves with what they have going on.
I love
Where
it.
Yeah, absolutely. Where I see myself taking this is I really want to, because what I see in my market is I see people who are getting the real estate investments, like going back to where I was at 27, I had real estate investments, but I didn't have life insurance to secure the assets that I had. I
Mhm.
didn't have a trust. I didn't have the legal elements to actually protect the assets. So where I see myself going is bringing in those elements into my team as well, bringing them in-house. So you've completed real estate transactions, congratulations. How do you protect it now? What do you do to actually make this not your last purchase, but the first of many to come, to provide the legacy that you need to the families that you're supporting? So, like, for example, I think that we're all hearing of the American dream, but very few of us actually implement what it takes to get to the American dream, because the system has so many layers of protection that it has for, the rules and opportunities that it provides, that a lot of people, unless they're in the top 1%, they're not purview to what can they do, whether it's through tax codes or estate planning or whatever else. We just don't have those resources. So I want to bring them to the masses. And I want to do that as like a triage. So
Let's make it happen. Wow. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear the story.
me too. Super thrilled.
We got one last final question to go before we log off.
Absolutely.
But here at the Icons of Real Estate, we like to make podcasting accessible to everyone, to the masses, to build relationships with each other and discuss future opportunities as well. Fun question, sorry. If you had a podcast, what would you call it, Anna?
Great question. You know what? I'd probably call it Second Chances.
But hey,
Yeah.
let's go. We don't get many of them, so that's gonna fly.
No, absolutely. And when you do get them, take it by the horn and just give it your best shot. Give it your best.
I love it. I love it. Well, guys, before we go out, how can our audience reach you, Anna?
You're awesome. Thank you so much, Ethan.
No,
Thank
how can our audience reach you?
I'm so sorry. Can you say, how can people reach me?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The truck passing by and I didn't hear that. You're welcome to reach out to me. I'm happy to drop my handles. I'm happy to drop my phone number directly, my email, whatever way. I'm easily accessible, whatever way that I can help you elevate yourself as a human being. I'm more than happy to be that person for you. So
okay, guys, I'm going to drop everything underneath after. If you didn't hear, go back and go watch this episode again. Go back. But guys, Ethan J. Thomas and Anna Ghalumian, over and out. It's been a pleasure, Anna. Thank you.
Pleasure's been all mine, Ethan. Thanks so much for the opportunity. Have an